You know, I was just going through tomorrow morning's LA Times, and they've got highlights of tonight's Conan show, right? It's right in here in the paper. All through it, yeah. Tomorrow night here, Mary Madeline from Washington, D.C. in our new set there, and also author Tom Sullivan. You know, Jeff Foxworthy has carved a niche for himself in the competitive world as the so-called redneck comedian. However, in addition to his popular stand-up routine, he's also a best-selling author and a recording star, and might soon be seen in his very own situation comedy. Always a pleasure to have Jeff Foxworthy with us here on The Late Late Show. Thanks for coming on again tonight.
Always a pleasure.
I mentioned to the folks, and I mentioned to you in the break, that I have to go online with this Prodigy here in a week or so. Have you done that where you go on and talk to people on a computer?
I just did it like a month and a half ago. It's pretty bizarre. I mean, it's because they have the number of questions. I was there an hour and a half. We had 15,000 questions.
But like, what do they ask? What kinds of things do they want to know?
What's funny, you know? And
yeah,
your face, next question, you know.
You know, you do humor, some humor, about Southern life and good old boys and wild, wild women and stuff like that. And it really isn't considered politically correct. But nobody seems to complain about it. You know, if you would do those routines about Italian Americans or about African Americans or about Episcopalians, somewhere somebody would say, hey, wait a second, you're not being fair. Nobody ever jumps on you for talking about good old boys and rednecks.
Not one single person. Well, I think that it's, with me doing it, it's not laughing at, it's laughing with. Because like when I do the redneck jokes, I think people look at me and figure, you know, he's done at least half this stuff. I mean, there's not a lot of research going on. When you started telling the story about the pigs, the flatulent pigs, yeah, I thought this was going to segue into a story about taking my family on vacation or something.
Speak again. I remember Grandma, every now and again when Grandpa Bittner would let one go, you know. We'd all be at the table as kids, and we could hardly contain ourselves, and of course Mom would say, shh, stop laughing. And Grandma would say to Grandpa Bittner, she'd say, speak again, oh toothless wonder.
We're related.
The voice is different, but the breath is the same.
Well, you know, I did a thing about a year ago. I have like 2 million frequent flyer miles on Delta, and I took my whole family to Hawaii. This is a true story. Just cash in the
burn up the miles.
13 of them, and thinking it would be the vacation of a lifetime. And I mean, it was the Clampetts go to Maui. I mean, because you get my family together, there is an empty Kmart somewhere. I mean, we were on the plane. The movie on the plane was Homeward Bound: The Incredible Journey.
Yeah. Oh, where the animals go.
5 minutes into the movie, my brother leans over and goes, "You know that ain't them dogs' real voice." And my sister got mad. Well, thanks for spoiling it for everybody else. So I guess that's why I can talk about the redneck. I draw from personal experience.
When you began doing comedy, did you make a conscious decision to work clean rather than blue?
Real early on.
Really?
I made a decision. I always wanted to do a show that if my family came in and I didn't know it, that when I came off and found out,
that's what Sinbad said here about a week ago. He said he wanted to do a show that if his daddy walked in, his dad would not be embarrassed to see him do this show.
And you know what? I totally believe it's part of the art of stand-up. I mean, you know, Cosby did that. Cosby did a line early about his wife delivering a baby, and he said at one point she stood up in the stirrups and informed everyone his parents were never married. Well, that's 10 times funnier than saying, you know.
Right.
And I do think that as a comedian, that's what you're paid to do, is to play with words. And if you put them in the right order. I'll give you a great example. Right after my first child was born, I was talking to Leno one night down at the Comedy Magic Club.
Who?
Jay Leno.
Oh.
And
how's his show going? Is he okay?
Quite
good,
well.
good. Okay. Yeah.
And I said, can I do a joke about the delivery film? You know, that was the big thing. Everybody filming the delivery. And Jay's like, I don't know. I think that's maybe too graphic. And so I thought, let's see if we can come up with a joke that you can tell on a Tonight Show. And I said, you know, and the joke was, somebody said, oh, you should have filmed the delivery. It's such a beautiful moment. And I said, you know, I've seen those films. To me, it looks like a wet St. Bernard trying to come in through the cat door. And there's nothing.
That was the cleaned up version.
Well,
yeah. I would hate to hear the bad version.
But there's nothing dirty there, you know? I mean, you don't have to. I mean, I find myself watching, I'm on the road and I watch like, you ever see this Def Comedy Jam on HBO?
Now and again, sure.
And I won't deny that I stand there and laugh,
Well,
but the whole time I sit there and think, where did these people work? Once this show is over, you know, where do you go to work? And I had people like, you know, Leno and Seinfeld early on that helped me to say, if you work clean, you always work, and you do.
Now, you mentioned that you're a dad. You were
Yes.
talking about the birth of your first child. So, and so you must have found in that some areas for comedy other than rednecks.
Well,
marriage, fatherhood,
sure.
kids, parenting.
I found, I used to sit there when I first got into comedy and would think, what am I going to talk about? And there came a time 5 or 6 years ago that I just started trusting if I talk about my life and my friends and my wife, that it's got to relate to people, and that's when it really kicked off.
Yeah, and there's funny stuff in all of our lives. Yeah.
Tons, and I mean, like I just learned as a parent that when you have sex, your body emits a hormone that will drift down the hall into your child's room and make them want a drink of water. And if you're extremely fortunate, they will call this order in. Because there are few surprises in life to match looking your wife directly in the eye and feeling somebody tickle the bottom of your foot. That's what's known as a showstopper right there. So now,
And believe me,
we'll stop the show, yeah. I told somebody else, and every night we just bathe the little girls, put them in their nightgowns and their cowbells, you know.
let me pause here for commercials. We are with Jeff Foxworthy at 800-952-2788. Back after this for our sponsors and the CBS television stations all across America.